Hello everyone, Scrap in my sleep back with you to share another set of photos. These are, or another set of layouts. These are from our Africa trip in November 2023. And I have a lot of layouts for this trip. So if you need to go get a cup of coffee and pretend like you're, or pretend like you're using the bathroom so you can hide out in your bedroom, go do that. This will be a long one. Okay, so my title page just has the dates of our trip. I'm using Everyday Explorer by 49 Market. I'm using a little bit of Wanderlust, I think. Some papers from Paper Rose. I just put together a big kit of stuff. So I've even got some Prima in here. I think it's Golden Desert maybe. And I'm also using Prima. Ooh, was there a title or a collection called Majestic? I don't know. I'm using a lot of collections because I went through a lot of stash for this album. So here's my title page. I did some, put on some pops of color and then stuck some gems in there. Thought that was kind of fun. I put in all of our itinerary just so we can look back and see what we did each day, even though I have photos documented, of course. This is that Prima line. I think it was called Majestic. And I just felt like it kind of fit the feel. So I put that in here. Airplane food. We flew first class on this trip. I think this was our first time to fly first class. And it was amazing. You get your own lounge for first class, which I didn't know, and I think it's going to be hard to go back. Okay, Stella. This is completely different. This is Golden Desert, I think, by Prima, but then this is Simple Stories. So before we went, they told us that we would be adopting an elephant, and I was convinced that we would get to see them and pick our own elephant, and then bring home a picture and, sponsor a child kind of thing, but sponsor an elephant. So I named her Stella, and I was so excited about meeting her. And so my sister thought that was funny. So she sent me this meme asking if I'd met Stella yet. I hadn't. We weren't even in Africa. This is us landing. In order to get in, we had to push this and hope that our fingerprint was okay. We must have been. We got in. And now we are in Kenya. So I just put some interesting facts about their money and a plastic ban, which they had. So we couldn't bring any plastic bags or anything to store toiletries or anything. We couldn't have any plastic with us or we could get fined. This is where we stayed for the first couple days. Beautiful. So again, a mixture of pocket pages when I don't really want to tell any more stories that go with these. This is just where we stayed. This one I did a little bit just because my photo was not 4x6. So I had to add a little bit into each of these. These are very old My Mind's Eye, I think, and some Prima flowers. This was a Scrapbook Customs, I believe. So just a big mix of everything on these pages. Just using things up. I had these chipboard animals, and I was like, well, this is the time to use them. So I did. This is from, is it Golden Desert from Prima, and as well as this paper. But then I mixed in 49 Market embellishments. This is Photo Play embellishments, actually, from Unique Traveler. Travel Junk. I think it's Travel Junk. I also use that collection. I've got some little interactive things in here. This is when we're going to the nursery where I think we're going to get our elephant. Look, it even looks like we're going to get one. Actually, they came out with a rhino first, which was adorable. It's Golden Desert. I saved the Not sure why I have that in there. And it looks like I missed scrapbooking some pictures, so that stinks. Thought I was done. Maybe those are duplicates. I don't know. Anyway, okay, here come the baby elephants. And I was like so excited and picking out like, oh, I want that one to be Stella. I want that one to be Stella. No, we didn't get to pick one. They just showed us the elephants and we got to pet them, which was awesome, but also really sad because look at them. I wanted to call one of them mine. I still might. They were so cute. They did not feel like I thought they'd feel. They were very, there's fine bristle like hairs all over them. Their ears were on the back side, were very soft, but this section was very like a scrub brush almost, very bristly. So we got to see the babies, we got to see the teenagers. I loved them. My husband stands just like this, so I thought that was so funny. He always has one leg behind him like that. And then, because I'll probably never be this close again, I just wanted a picture close up of all the elephant parts. So this is actually a 2-pager. So, yeah, look at those eyelashes. They're so beautiful. Way too many pictures of elephants, probably, but I want them all. So they're all in here. All right, and then we're headed back to our place, and I just thought this was so interesting. Alongside the roads were there, like this was a Tupperware store, and then this place was selling like lunch items. This man was selling boots, one of each. I'm not sure where the pair was, but bananas for sale here. Like, it was just crazy. This place is selling tires. Yeah, so I wanted to remember that. Here's a department store, I guess, clothing store. And he slept through it all. This person was selling sugar cane. So, and then we went to a pottery place where the women make and sell the pottery to help support themselves. So that was really neat to see how they make the beads. These are embellishments from a Hip Kit Club, actually, and this is Amy Tantag, maybe? I'm using old stuff. This was a great way to use up all of these enamel dots and colors that are just random that I had left over. And I was like, well, they're beads. And we were at a place with all these beads. I'm just going to use all those enamel dots on that page. And they hand painted all of these. Made and hand painted all of those. They also made some little trinkets. So we actually came home with one of these elephants. It sits on my mantle. And I love looking at him. All right. Another road, another set of supplies that you could buy. And it just cracked me up. So they even had homes for sale here in this little section. Dinner, grills, and all just right beside each other, like just random, all of the things. So I thought it was kind of funny to use this. Oh, is that a Vicky Bouton? I'm not sure where this came from. It might have been Paige Evans, actually. We went to a giraffe feeding center. Everything has armed guards with really big guns. It's a little intimidating. But then we got to the giraffe center and fed some giraffes, which was really cool. Look at that cute little guy. There's a baby right here. I never did get a really good picture of him, but all right, let me scoop these so they don't fall off. All right, more of oh, here he is. I guess I did get a good picture of him. Yeah, what a cutie, huh? So much fun. So you can see none of my pages match the side by side. I just do whatever I want. When I see the pictures, I just do whatever I want. This is a Hip Kit Club paper, and several of their embellishments for this month fit for an Africa trip. So I just stuck those on there. Just kind of stuck with the colorways of the paper. When we went to bed, they prepared the room, pulled this so the mosquitoes didn't come in and get us while we were sleeping, which was sweet. And then breakfast. We were leaving early, so they had us get breakfast in our room that morning. And then we went to the Karen Blixen Museum. I didn't know anything about her, but I guess she wrote a book out of Africa and they made a movie out of it. I thought this tree was so beautiful, and all those little flowers looked like this. So I want a picture of that. I'd never seen a hyrax. And this is a termite hole, which I'd never seen either. I just thought they had mounds, but they actually burrow into the ground. Okay, and then my husband was on a medical conference for this whole trip. So they took us to see an African hospital, which was very interesting. And then out for lunch. More shopping. I just couldn't stop taking pictures of all of it. It's just so different than what we have here. And I wanted to remember it all. So I love this. The clothes on mannequins, actual mannequins. This person is selling shoes. Briard. Fabric. Anything you could imagine they have there. Mattresses. So, very fun. All right, then we got to see an orphanage, which was so much fun. The kids were so sweet and joyful and excited to show us around where they live. This is the man who runs the orphanage, and he has personally adopted several of these kids, so he actually lives there with them. And then they got to take us around and show us their school and where they live, which was very sweet. This was what they were going to be eating later in the day. Okay, grab the next stack. You guys need to go reheat your coffee. It's 12 minutes long. Oh my goodness, sorry, I keep bumping that. Okay. Next stack. It's a big one. All right, still at the orphanage. These kids were so precious, just so loving. And then that night, we had a fancy dinner before we left the next morning. So here we are checking out of that. I used tons of suitcases. These were from, oh goodness, an Etsy seller. I don't remember her name actually. But I just stacked them all up in there. I think there also might be some 49 and Market ones in there as well. All right, and then getting ready to leave. This is one of the housing districts that we went by, and he used to live there. So he was proud to show that off. Going into the airport. Very tiny plane. This was a magazine that I just wanted to save. I thought that would be fun. We actually were delayed a little bit because they were trying to fix the propeller. All of us were a little frightened to get on these prop planes anyway. And then when they were up there fixing it right before we took off, we were a little nervous to get on, but it all worked out okay. And then ready for flight 2. Flight 2, we arrived and it was flooding there. First rain they'd had in 7 years. There was a 7-year drought. And so there was flooding everywhere. Welcome to the Buffalo Springs airstrip. And this was the duty-free shop at the airport. And we would end up seeing these people several times throughout the week. But at this point, we thought, well, if this is the gift shop, we better shop now because we're not going to be able to find anything anywhere else. So we were all shopping here. And then we found out that they followed us everywhere. So, oops, the back page of that. I was amazed by how big this guy was. Just beautiful. And then we had, I think, 7 or 8 Jeeps. So just a picture of the Jeeps. Yeah, that's not my favorite page. These are, oh, rats. They're the ones that come in the little paper folder. Why can't I think of the name of them right now? Oh, I can't. And these are Mente, I believe. So I have some Mente papers in here too. What is the name of that company where the ephemera comes in like a little paper envelope, paper bag kind of thing? So this was our first little section of our ride, and we already were greeted with just amazing views. Because of the flood, everything had turned green, so all of the animals were coming out to greet us, which was amazing. But also there was a lot of flooding, and so the roads were washed away. So it was very bumpy. Look at that. We were so close. I still can't believe how close we were. A lot of these are hip kit things. This was back when, I should just stop bringing this up because I can't remember. As soon as I say it, I can't remember who it's from. Life. Yeah, I can't remember. They don't make kits anymore. Okay, this was quite a story. There's a vehicle that rode around our vehicles really fast, and he was the guide vehicle checking the way in front of us to make sure it was okay. Well, pretty soon our caravan stopped and people started getting out of their Jeeps, which, I mean, it's Africa, wild Africa. So I was like, I don't think we should be getting out of there. But the guide vehicle had been washed away in the flood, and the driver managed to get out and was standing on the side. So there was a big dilemma about how to get this guy off of his Jeep. And the water just kept rising. This was their solution to figure out if the water was rising. They put a rock in the river to see how fast the water would cover the rock, and it disappeared pretty quickly. So they told us not to wander too far because this was cheetah territory. So once they said that, people stayed pretty well put beside the Jeep. We were there for a couple hours though, waiting, because they ended up having to get a military helicopter to rescue him. So that was an exciting start to the day. And then we had to go through several flooded areas, which was a little scary, but we did it. And this right here is how close we were to the side of falling off that road into that ditch. Crazy. Oh no, I lost the letter. Bummer. Just put those on too. This is the raging. Oh, I already showed that page. Okay, so we couldn't go across the river, so we had to take a detour. And we had already been traveling. Oh goodness, we got up so early that morning to get on the flight. And then it was about 2 hours to get to the river. Once we couldn't get across the river, it took us another 3 to 4 hours to get to the place we were staying that night. If we could have gone across the river, it just would have been another hour. But this is what we saw. So none of us were disappointed that we had to go the long way. We saw so many amazing things, but we did wonder if it would ever end. We kept seeing these signs saying so many kilometers, but the kilometers just did not go away. Then we saw this and we were like, oh, we're so close, but no, we weren't. So, and then we turned a corner and saw all of these elephants as far as the eye could see. Just unreal. These are some flowers from an old Michael's pack. Some Tim Holtz paper strips, seeing some ostrich just walking by, and the raging river here. And then we finally made it. This is a paper rose paper with some 49 in Market, some photo play things I cut out, some 49 in Market tags, and film strip. We thought we were there, but we weren't. That was just to get into the Buffalo Springs area, and then we had to drive another ways, quite a ways, to get to where we were staying. So there's some more things we saw. And then we made it. And by the time we got there, we were ready. So we were greeted with hot towels and some fresh squeezed juice and this beautiful bird. And then we walked to our tent, which was actually a mud hut. Very nice. Lots of bugs. And in our room was some bug spray. But it was actually a very nice room in the middle of nowhere. Some breakfast, and looking out right across from where we were eating was a herd of elephants. So this is actually American Crafts Beautiful Dreamer collection. And like, some people might be like, ew, orange and purple right beside each other, but I don't care. This is the outside of our tent, and this is the river that had flooded, and it had gone down that much just in the little time we had been there. There are the elephants we had watched at dinner. They actually swam across, walked across, and were walking back behind. Now we're going out on our first official safari. Getting there was actually a ride too, but these are all the things we saw this day. Pretty short ride that first time because we'd had quite a long morning. And here's the second day. We were walking to breakfast and were terrified when a group of olive baboons jumped out on the sidewalk in front of us. And this one had a baby on its back, which was adorable. But then we realized that that's what the footprints that were on our bench outside our little hut, they were olive baboon footprints, which was kind of cool. All right, we had some pancakes and coffee before our next safari. I loved these weaver birds. You know, it's a very tiny picture, but they made these beautiful nests that hung from the baobab trees, and they were beautiful. And then here's a termite hill. This is a picture of the whole place that we stayed. I like to take pictures of our footprints, or of our feet on whatever soil we're in. So you'll see that in a lot of my travel albums. And then we have 360 apps, so I thought this was kind of fun. Our faces in Africa. Just a fun silhouette of the Jeep and some people walking down the road. Lots of birds. We saw so many birds. I just loved them all. So I tried to title each thing just so I would remember what they were. These are old Tim Holtz cards. And the water was definitely receding, but the river was still going crazy. So, okay, next pile. I just want to put this all in one video, even though it's long, because, well, it all goes together. Okay, so saw some giraffes that day. 2 different types of giraffes. Let me show that again. This one has more of a speckled spot, and this one is like a clean edged spot, which is cool. I didn't know we would see both kinds. And then we saw some of these zebras. Awesome. We saw those groups of birds that look like they travel like and make shapes, which was pretty neat. I got to use these. I think this is from Gingham Garden. No, it was a My Mind's Eye collab with Simple Stories that had all these birds. I don't remember what collection it was. These. Ooh, the ruts left in the roads. I got to use some bugs, which I wouldn't use anywhere else, but there were tons of bugs at this place, so it fit. One of the Jeeps got stuck and we had to pull them out. Once we pulled them out, we realized that there had been a big cat there of some sort. Ate dinner, had a scorpion. There were so many bugs that some of us ate with our sweatshirts over our heads because they were just flying at you. It was not good. And then it was time to leave this place. So we're getting ready to head to the next. This is a fun picture of what our Jeeps look like, totally open like this. So when the animals were sitting here, like you were right beside them. It was so amazing. As we were leaving, we ran across, well, we were able to cross the river this time. Coming, we were standing over here watching the truck. And then on the way back, we could see how far the water had gone down. So that was kind of neat to be able to go back and see that. Giraffes, again, the different kinds. Actually, in this one, there are 3 different kinds. I got to, I loved the acacia trees. It was just so neat. And then I was able to pick one of the thorns and a couple leaves so I could put them in my album, which I love. Very fun. Social weavers. I love their nests. I just couldn't get enough of them. So this is a Michaels or Hobby Lobby trim. It was on clearance one time and I picked it up. These also are some ephemera from Michaels or Hobby Lobby. Another airplane ride to see the next place we were going, which was the Masai Mara. And we saw all of these things. Not in this one day, but just throughout the time we were there. And I just kind of wanted to put all the animals together. I loved these pictures of the caravan. Elephants. Actually, this is where this picture would go. I don't know why I don't have it in there. It's just unreal. And then this is the second place, or the third place we stayed. We were greeted by these warriors. It was a little intimidating. They were all almost jumping at you when you walked through the little tunnel of them. I didn't really love it. And then got some lunch. Went to our tent, which was kind of looked like a tent, but it had a real roof on it. So, but it was super fun. Right next to the river, and we could hear and see the hippos in the river. So this was a really nice, fun place to stay. I think I forgot to put time. It says just a little down, but it's supposed to be just a little down time. So I'm gonna have to add time in there. Oh, it's right there. Oh, good. Okay. I did it right. It's just on the second page. It's a 2-page layout. So, all right. And then Todd got some pictures of him at his conference, which is always fun to put in, prove that we did do some learning while we were there. And then out again for an afternoon drive. This time we were able to see a fresh kill of a zebra with a lioness and her 2 cubs. Very rainy day. Sorry about that. Got very muddy on this one, so they pulled down the sides, and by the time we got to our hotel, this was the side that we were looking out of. So couldn't see much by the time we got back. All right, next pile. We're getting closer, guys. This is the last pile, but it's giant. If any of you are still here, I'm amazed. Okay. Cape Buffalo. And we got stuck again. So a tractor had to come and get us. And it's not like here where you could call somebody and they would be there in just a few minutes. Like it was half an hour before they got to you, because there's no straight path anywhere. And it's all across bumpy, crazy, rocky roads. But he got us out, and I thought this was fun to get the ruts. Some old pink fresh flowers stuck in there with some old My Mind's Eye flowers, I think, or this might be, I don't know, where's that? And it was dinner. At this point, I was running out of African themed embellishments, and so you'll start to see just a bunch of circles and colored things. I went through my colored drawers and just got out a bunch of very general tags and things like that. So I had a lot of paper left, animal print paper, but not a lot of embellishments. So this is a water bottle a warm water bottle that they put in under your blankets before you go to bed. Then we got to do a hot air balloon. These are from Hip Kit Club. This is us getting in the hot air balloon. We had to climb in on our, how do you describe it? You climb in feet first, and then the whole basket is turned sideways. So you're sitting sideways with your feet in, and you're laying on your back until the basket raises. So that was very interesting to get in with. I think there were 16 people that had to get in. So that was kind of a funny thing. We got certificates for being in the hot air balloon and some beautiful pictures. Just love these. Saw some warthogs. So which pictures would I leave out, guys? I had to put all of them in. And then this is bracing for landing. You had to get into a certain squat position and hold on to the little handles inside the basket. And then we just stood in this field while they let the air out of the hot air balloon. And like, we had seen wild animals while we were up there. So it's just an interesting, it's a different life over there, right? Little overkill on the flower wreath, but well, I did it. So we were surprised with a breakfast on the savannah after the hot air balloon. So they had set up tables with actual fancy linens and real china and fresh squeezed juice. And they were making made-to-order omelets, which was fun. And then those people that we saw at the airport resurfaced in the middle of a field. I have no idea where they came from. We were in the middle of nowhere, and breakfast was over, and we turned around, and they had set up like a little market on the ground, and you weren't going anywhere until you bought something. So we found these little trays, which are cute, and I use them to actually sort embellishments with. This is from that same company that, I'm going to see if I can look on the back of that and see where it's from. They were only around for a little while, and they mostly made embellishments. Nope, it's plain on the back. Sorry, I can't tell you where it came from. But this was just a card that was like an advertisement that came with the kit. And so I saved it, and I'm glad I did because it's perfect for this. So these are hippos in the hippo corner is what they call it. There's actually one back here too. Oh, already showed that. Okay, and now we're going on another afternoon drive. This was an incredible day. That's where this picture should go, which I might switch out one of these because this is better. But he looks like he's smiling in this one. That's why I kept that one. Little lioness. Someone in another Jeep actually took these pictures of us, which was really sweet. So we were sitting there watching these lions. It was a mama and 2 lionesses. And then out of the woods came 5 little cubs, and it was the cutest thing. They went right over to the mom and the dad, who were trying to take a nap, and started jumping on them just like kids would, right? And they bothered the dad until he got up and walked away, which was so funny. I thought I had it. Oh, that's where I document this one. That he was enjoying a rest, and all the cubs came. And then he walked away, like, go talk to your mom. It was so funny. All right, and then while we were sitting watching this, and you see how close we were to them, like, close. Our driver said, I can't get the car started. So, like, I thought it was great because we got to watch the lions longer, but there were some people in the back of our car who were freaking out. And so the other Jeeps that were there kind of surrounded, made a little fence around our car, and then our driver could get out and do something with the engine, and then the car started and off we went. But while we were sitting there and he was fixing this, 3 more big lions came out of the woods. So that was kind of fun. It was exciting. Oh my goodness, why are my letters falling off? I even glued these guys, or taped them. I taped them down and they're still not staying. That's a pet peeve of mine. Okay. This is a really bad picture, but there's a crocodile right there. And that's the only one we saw, so I had to include it. So, this day we were surprised with breakfast outside again. Very pretty. Here's the hippo corner. This is a section at the hotel where you could actually go out into this little gazebo, and this was right below you. So, amazing. And out again for another drive. We took a trip to the Maasai village of the same people who were at the airport and the same people who greeted us when we came into this place to stay, and the same people who had things for sale after our hot air balloon ride. They just kept popping up. But this was a neat day. We got to see in their houses and see how they live. Did some tribal dances with them, and they kept declaring I would be their wife and stay with them. And I, at one point, was like, I'm ready to get out of here. It was just a little too much. They were a little too close. But I'm glad we got to see it. Yeah, this guy didn't have boundaries, and it was a lot. So kids are so cute. Okay, and then on the way from there, we saw this adorable baby elephant, and he was all by himself walking in circles, the cutest thing ever. And then this big bull elephant came out of the woods, and the driver said it was his mama, but I didn't really, well, I'm not going to say that out loud. I don't know a lot about animals, and I embarrass myself a lot. But the mama did not like how close the baby was getting to our vehicle, and so she fluffed her ears up and made lots of noise, and then took the baby back to the woods. On this day, our guides told us we were going for a hike, and they had a big surprise for us. One of the few things we had not seen at this point were rhinoceros and a leopard. But they said there are not very many of them around. Chances are we won't see them, but they had this surprise for us. We were going on a hike. We turned the corner and were within touching, look how close we were to this thing. He was huge. So that was an amazing day. Just amazing. They're massive. I love this picture. So that was a really neat day. And then on the way home from that, now these were at a reserve, so they knew we would see these. They were at a reserve, so they take people there every time. But to spot a leopard is a big deal, because they're just there's no rhyme or reason to where they're going to show up. So the drivers of the Jeeps would CB back and forth to each other what they had seen. We weren't all together the whole time. So they might be in one section of the reserve and we would be in another. And we got a call saying that they had spotted a leopard. And so we went over, and at first we were looking in this tree, and I was like, I can't see it. I don't know what I'm looking for. Well, this was all that was showing. And then our driver went around the tree, and we had an incredible view of this thing, just absolutely gorgeous, taking a nap. And then he woke up and walked down this tree limb, and then just turned around and looked at us. Oh, it was magical. Magical. Some zebra that were right across from where we were staying. The beautiful sky that I couldn't get enough of. So you guys are taking a trip to Africa right along with me. In 45-minute video so far. It was National Arbor Day while we were there, so we planted some trees. More zebra. Nope. These are zebra. The other side was giraffes. It's one of our last days there, so we got a photo up. Oh, there's no page in there. I wonder if that's where these were supposed to go. It might be where they end up going anyway. All right, some beautiful flowers around the resort. A rainy day. It was a rainy day, so we stayed in and did a puzzle that my mom had joked around that she wanted me to bring to Africa and work it. It was a winter puzzle that she'd gotten in the mail, and I actually did take it to Africa and work it, so she thought that was funny. there were a lot of times when people would say, "Oh my goodness, look at that," and I wouldn't be able to find it. Like, I didn't know where to look. So I made this page so everyone could see what how I struggled and why I struggled. Do you see anything in this photo? Right here, hiding in a hole, is a cheetah. And we parked, he's in right here in this hole, in this photo. We parked and that cheetah stretched and started walking this. I am right here beside this thing in the Jeep. He is that close to me. Like, I'm not zoomed. He was that close to me. It was amazing. So much fun. My letters, guys. I glued these down. I loved all the termite mounds, so that's just a compilation of termite mounds and bones that we saw. There are a lot of grids on these next few pages because they're compilations of like things, and the easiest way for me to do that is a grid. So we move this pile. Almost done, guys. Almost done. All right. I loved also looking at the footprints. So this is just a page of the different footprints. And then here's a picture of my footprint because I got stuck in the mud. Our Jeep got stuck in the mud and we had to walk across where we just seen that cheetah to get into another Jeep. They couldn't chance driving out there because they didn't want to get stuck too. So this day I'd worn my sandals because we never got out of the car any other day, really. But this day I wore my sandals, so my foot was completely muddy. And this is us sitting on the laps of the people in our car. Thankfully, I got to sit on my husband's lap. And then more pictures of the hippos. I went down and just watched them one day while my husband was in class. And man, they were amazing. So much fun to watch. This is some Heidi Swapp stuff, actually, on this page. Just around the resort. This page is for the birds because it's all the birds, a lot of the birds we saw. So that's cool. And then sun came out for our last drive. Saw a lot of things on this day too. So fun. Saw a lot of babies on this last day. Baby monkey. Yeah, so many babies. So that was really fun. And then some little baby gazelle down here. Baby warthogs. I loved the warthogs. They were so funny to watch. Some jackals. So a lot of things we saw on that last day. And then this is headed home. So another lioness, hippo. We saw a bat-eared fox, which was neat. So that was the end of our safarying. And then we had a really lovely dinner out under a tent of sorts. Our last night there. And this is the morning we leave. So more Heidi Swapp. You can tell the style of the album changes completely from beginning to end because I ran out of everything. But that's okay. Got a lot of stuff used up. Trip of a lifetime. Just kind of summarizing what a trip it was and how thankful we were to get to go. And then I took a screenshot of Africa's Big 5, Big 7, and Big 9, and we saw them all. Even the crocodile, but I didn't have another picture of that one, so. And this is us on our way back to the airport. This group of elephants came out almost as if to say goodbye to us, which is really sweet. At the airport with a big group shot of all of the people who went with us. And then some more shots with some people that we met and became friends with on the trip. Flying on the little prop plane back to the big airport. Here's the big airport. We made the whole time with these 2 little bags that we had taken, and we did just fine with that. And Lion King at 32,000 feet, because Lion King was showing and it just felt fitting to watch that on our way home from an African safari. So there's our flight stuff. Just a picture of us coming. This is from Rome. We had a layover in Italy at the Chicago airport, and at that time there were people living in the Chicago airport and stopping for some donuts on the way home from the airport. So that is my Africa album. It took me forever. I'm so glad it's done. And if you are here for this whole 50-minute video, bless you. I will catch you next time.